Lizzie, and thank you so much for organizing this and reaching out and including me in this great presentation. I'm really excited also and humble to be part of this great panel. My name is Basma Alawee, and I am myself a former refugee from Iraq. Since I have 10 minutes, I will really focus today on forced displacement and the refugees community in the state of Florida and how we become refugees, which is a question I always get asked, how I end up being in the state of Florida. So I will be sharing my screen and hopefully you will be able to see. And I know when I share my screen, I might not be able to see the chat. So if people have a question, I will be able to see them after I finish my presentation. Are you all able to see it? Perfect. So as I said, I am a former refugee and now I am the Florida refugee organizer with the Florida Immigrant Coalition. I will be explaining more about our campaign and the work we do nationwide, not just in the state of Florida. But just to give an overview about the Florida Immigrant Coalition, we are a statewide coalition of more than 65 member organizations and over 100 allies. We were founded in 1998 and formally incorporated in 2004. And we are led by our membership, including grassroots and community organizations. And I am the Florida refugee organizer. Most of the organizers, if not all, are all impacted refugees and immigrants leaders. So just to go back really quickly, what is a refugee? And I'm visiting today just one community that we have really a diverse population here in the state of Florida. But a refugee under the US law is a person who is unable or unwilling to go back to his or her home country because of well-founded fear of persecution due to the race, membership in particular social club or group or political opinion. This definition is based on the United Nations 1951 Convention. And as of 2019, there are 26 million refugees worldwide. Since 1975, the US has welcomed more than 3 million refugees from around the world. And just to learn about how the process of becoming refugees, me sharing my own experience, I was born and raised in Iraq, and Lizzie have shared with all of you that I lived under war and dictatorship, went through a lot of trauma. After 2003 war against Iraq or invasion against Iraq, I was one of the people who started to go through displacement. And one of the reasons because my husband was trying to really support and save American troops in Iraq and trying to really make sure that there is a right communication between the Iraqis and Americans who were there. And because of that, we were threatened and needed to leave Iraq. And normally, we don't become refugees. We are called displaced people. But after we go through intensive process, which is, you see some of them here, which it involve 8 US government agencies, 5 separate security database, 6 background checks, 3 in-person interviews. Yes, we went, me and my husband, and in that time, my 1-year daughter through this intensive process. And it took us over 2 years. I will say between 1.5 years to 2 years of a process to move to the US. And as refugees, we don't the country or state that we are resettled in. All of these organizations and governments and administration choose what country refugees resettle in. Of course, there are 9 US resettlement agencies in the country here in the United States. Some of them are, or all of them are listed here. And in the past 4 years, we have lost some organizations because of the reduction of the number of refugees and because of the prior administration. One of the organizations who we lost, actually, it's in Jacksonville, World Relief. It was closed. And it was one of the amazing organizations that supported the resettlement for the refugees in the state of Florida. And of course, there was a lot of great numbers you can find here, and I will be able to share this presentation with Lizzie, but I just want to make sure to go over some of the facts about the refugee program and who exists in the state of Florida. Of course, the US intervention globally had produced many refugees. One of them you see here. But you will see we are intervening in so many countries. And one of them I will share talk about is Iraq. So as of 2003, Iraq have never been stable. We have lost many people because of instability after 2003. That we have now a really corrupted government that is supported by the US government. And we don't understand why this corrupted government in Iraq are supported. In 2019, a big revolution started in Iraq against the Iraqi government, asking them to just share basic human right, medical work, all of any human rights that anyone asks for. And the government not just really failed to share these basic human rights, but also killed over 200 protesters who were protesting just asking for their human rights. And we did not see yet any of the government in Iraq who killed the people and the militia have really anyone asked them, even from the American government, to why you have done that and who did the killing for the people. The protests until today is happening, and more people killed just because they are asking for their basic human right. So I will say in Iraq, we were promised democracy in 2003, and until today, there's no democracy really given in Iraq. I will say it's a fake democracy because we are having elections, we are having a freedom of speech, but people are killed when they are speaking. And when you talk about election, none of the people who are elected really represent the community. Most of these people coming from outside the country, and they have 3 or 4 different citizenships, so not necessarily they represent the people there. And of course, this intervention not just happened in Iraq and produced refugees and displacement, but you see many other countries that the United States, which is my country now, I am a US citizen, but sadly, we need to learn about the history so we don't repeat the same mistakes that we can make by entering war and unnecessary intervention in other countries. So there is a really big piece of history of refugee resettlement in the US, but it started with actually the Bureau of Immigration when it was established in 1891, and the history goes on. But after a while, refugee became a definition and for people who are forced to leave their home. And I think one of the things that we are still celebrating is the Refugee Act of the 1980, which provided the first basic for asylum, creating the Office of Refugee Resettlement to oversee resettlement program. Under the act, the president set the annual number of the admission and allocation. And until today, every year, the president decide on the number of refugees that could enter the following fiscal year. And we will be talking a little bit about it later. And there's also have been some really good policy that affected resettlement in the US, which is the list goes on. But the last one we can talk about is the UN Summit for Refugees and Migrants, which gave countries committed to a 4.5 billion increase in global humanitarian aid, and supported really supporting more refugees to be home, and especially displaced women and children. But also there have been a lot of harmful policy that affected resettlement, not necessarily many, but in the past 4 years, as you see, since January of 2017 until June 2020, we have faced so many harmful policy that affected refugees. Refugees have never been really a hot topic to speak about because it's always have been supported in every party. We have been resettling refugees for a year. Any president comes always supported and welcome refugees, but in the prior administration, we have seen a lot of attack against the refugees community, from starting with the executive order and the Muslim ban, to the zero tolerance policy, to the migrant protection persecution protocol in February of 2020. And of course, things continues until June 2020 with the expedite removal. Things really affected not just the refugees community, but the immigrants community overall, and many other also minorities community in the United States. But one of the things that's really have nourished during that time, and even before, in 2017, a national campaign started, which called "We Are All America." Please check it out. Follow us on Facebook. We are doing amazing work. The We Are All America works to uphold and strengthen our nation's commitment to welcome and protect those seeking freedom, safety, and refuge in the United States. We organize people across religion and cultural differences to build inclusive communities where we all belong. And We Are All America, when it started in 2017, we started with 3 or 4 refugees organizers around in 3 or 4 different states, and now we are over 23 states. All the organizers are refugees and impacted people like me, and I am here in the state of Florida leading the We Are All America work and supporting and organizing refugees in the state of Florida. And since then, we have really had so many wins. One is to keep Florida welcoming refugees during really the prior administration, but also educating legislative. Every year we organized refugees and immigrants and allies to go to Tallahassee and educate legislators about the refugees program in the state of Florida, and have organized also many stories that was shared with legislators. Because again, how many things that legislators should know about, but we were able to educate them ongoing, so no harmful policy could come and really harm the refugees community. Earlier this year, we have launched the Opportunity for All campaign, which is another national campaign that designed to shift social, political, and economic conditions so that refugees can achieve their full potential. And we have 3 goals. One is to build the infrastructure for refugee power. 2, to achieve a concrete organizing win through OFA, which is the Opportunity for All. And 3, shift the refugee narrative. And since we started, we had so many wins. One of them, actually, we were able to write a letter, was signed by over 200 refugees around the country, asking the Biden administration to keep his promise and welcome 62,500 refugees for the 2021 year. And we were able to win that. The Biden administration then later, they signed the executive order, and now we are making sure that these communities are resettled and are reunited with their families here. And of course, you could learn more about the We Are All America work, but to go back, here in Florida, we focused on specific things. And one of them actually, the education part. Through my own experience, I found that not many people know about the refugees community in the state of Florida, and also who exists in the state of Florida. And we also organize many campaigns that's local and statewide to advocate for the refugees community. And we have been sharing the change that's been happening in the state of Florida with different organizing wins. And the last objective we had is integration into state and national campaign support, which we want to make sure when things happening national, it's reflected in local, and when things happening local, it's uplifted national. And before We Are All America started in the state of Florida as part of the Florida Immigrant Coalition work, we had some harmful refugee policy that I really don't want to visit, but it's in here in the slides, and I can share it again with Lizzie. But since 2017, or even after 2017, we did not have any harmful policy or language against the refugees community, which is a big win. We were able to keep Florida more welcoming to the refugees community, even during the pandemic. But in the same time, we have organized, as I said, every year a visit to the legislative in Tallahassee. And this year we celebrated the 3rd annual refugee Advocacy Week virtual, and we were able to have more than 5 to 6 proclamation that was passed in the House welcoming refugees in the state of Florida, and they were bipartisan support. We had legislators from Republican and Democrat both supported the refugee program and uplifted the stories of refugees in the state of Florida. I can say more, but definitely if you don't know, Cuban counts for more than 80% of the arrival to the state of Florida. Florida serves clients for more than 50 countries in 40 or more Florida counties. We have refugees from Haiti, Iraq, Burma, Egypt, Colombia, and the list goes on. And there's a lot here also about the history of resettlement in Florida and what active organization in the state of Florida that's advocating for refugees. We do also have messaging guidance. So if you are trying to support, or if you want to start supporting the refugee messaging, let us know. We can support with some toolkit or with some messaging guidance that we share with our partners. And I think my time is off. So if people have any question, I will advise you to stay informed, get involved, join local or global organizations, support the We Are All America campaign, because it's one of the not many that's actually led by refugees, and all the organizers, as I said, in many states are refugees. So I will stop here now, and I don't know, Lizzie, if you are doing the question in the end of the panel or now, but I'm here.
I'm going to ask about that because I think we wanted to do after each speaker, and who can tell me if we will be doing it in between each one?
I think we're doing okay on time. We can take
Okay,
at least a couple questions between speakers.
Thank you, because Basma's amazing personal story and the dire situation that so many are in really requires us to take action. So in addition to the supporting the opportunity for all, and We Are All America, these specific actions that you would like us to take, we would love the messaging that you mentioned, and we will definitely make that available. But yes, just tell us more about what specific actions people can take. I did put that in the chat so people can connect, and I see you did also. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. So one, I will say we are having, as I said, stay informed, but we are having a statewide event coming up June 25th and June 26th. I will share the information with you, Lizzie, so feel free to share it with the group. Since the end of 2019, we have been putting work together to learn more about how Florida have been inclusive to the immigrants community, and through many community sessions, listening sessions, and surveys, and many universities and researchers are involved in this project. The project started with learning about the state of Florida, sharing stories, but also sharing the change that's been happening. And now in June 25th and 26th, we will share the report with the community and also ask for specific action for people to support with. So I will say, I will share more information about the event with Lizzie, and maybe she can share with everyone if you're interested to come and learn and take action. But I will say also stay informed. We Are All America on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We always share actions there. So please follow us and connect with us. And if you have any question, reach out to me. I have my email with Lizzie as well.
Very good. And is that an online action or a location for the 25th and 6th?
There will be, it's nothing out yet, but the registration link will be going out next week. So I will send you all the information so people can register.
Very good.